What up, y'all? I am your guest talker, Mike Glazer. Here with me, head writer of the Nighttime Show, Matt Walker. Our guest tonight, writer of Chronicle, American Ultra, creator of DIRK Gently's holistic detective agency, co-creator of Sci-Fi Channel's Channel Zero, and author of critically acclaimed New York Times bestseller, Superman, American Alien. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today, Max Landis. And your host, ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Kramer Glickman.
Bringing the six. Yeah. Max, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I've known you sort of peripherally for years.
Yeah, and like we see each other. We'll have an awkward hug at Comic-Con on a weird dance floor. Things happen.
Oh my
Weird
God.
things happen.
I always say whenever people meet me, I always say if you met me at Comic-Con, you didn't meet me at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I mean, for years I was just pretty much blacked out the entire. It was my Mardi Gras.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'd be there the full 5
Oh yeah, of course.
since like 2001. Since I was like when I was available 16. I think I haven't missed one since 2006.
Fuck. The best. They're the best.
The best.
They're so crazy. And like I tried to explain it to my girlfriend a couple years ago. I was like, look, honey, I have to be there for all 5 days. I have to get a hotel room for all 5 days, and I just have to I'm just going to party for 5 days straight. I'm going to hang out with Joss Whedon. I'm going to hang out with M. Night Shyamalan. Weird shit's going to happen. I'm going to piss off people.
Yes. Comic-Con's good for that.
Oh, man. I had a horrible thing happen with the guy from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the chubby guy. Do you know what I'm talking about? In this movie,
I've been trying to forget Fantastic Beasts ever since I saw it.
Shit.
It's funny you say like hanging with Joss Whedon and stuff.
You see them though; they're all around.
They are for us. I mean,
Right.
there are 3 Comic-Cons, and I've been to all 3 in order.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Really?
just like the secret cities of London, just like the city of Dubai has levels, just like there are different levels, social strata within high school. There are 3 types of high school parties, and there are 3 Comic-Cons.
I was invited to none of those high school parties. 0 levels of high school parties.
I was only invited to them once I was like 20. So I don't know. But you know, there's the level I started out at, which is I'm going to Comic-Con. I'm a huge fan of all this stuff. And you hear from the hotel rooftops and patios and the lines outside the clubs. You're like, what is this? Oh my God, was that Aaron Eckhart? You know, you like,
right.
Was that Manasivari? What is going on? There are famous people here? Wait, Grant Morrison is going to the same party as Nicolas Cage? I don't understand what's happening. Right. And you're just partying in hotel rooms, and you're with your friends, you're in the gas lamp, and you're having like a sort of American Graffiti comic book fan experience.
Yeah.
Then the second level of Comic-Con is the rooftop parties, is all of the promotional events, the open bars, the dancing, the drinking, the stuff you get invited to if you've been on one TV show once.
Right.
Or your dumb guy wrote Chronicle or whatever, like all that shit, all the actors, all the red carpets. And then the third level of Comic-Con, which you may have done, and I only did this year, is the nightmare level, is being there to promote something, where you are shuttled from place to place by publicists, being yelled at and hurried along by guards with all your actors from your show or whatever you're promoting, being rushed from panel to panel and just beaten down.
So it stops being fun.
It stops being fun. And it's incredible because I used to look forward to Comic-Con every year. Yeah. This year I'm like aware we'll be promoting second season of DIRK.
Now it's work.
Yeah. And it's going to be quite a ride.
That's really interesting. I haven't really done that. Like I've gone there to do panels, and I've gotten to party and gotten to have some really, really good times with some really fun people.
Unforgettable times.
Crazy stuff. But I haven't been there to promote anything.
Never do it.
Yeah. Ooh.
Never do it.
Interesting.
Because you've done like promotional things where you're just repeating the same soundbite again and again and again.
Yeah,
That's always, imagine that, but you wake up at 6 a.m. and then I was at the Entertainment Weekly party this year with, Sam from the show and Jade from the show and my little buddy Hannah Marks. And we're waiting for this red carpet and we're exhausted and it's 9 p.m. and we do the red carpet. We get one drink. And we're like, okay, wrapped. And like that's Saturday night at Comic-Con. That I used to be up till 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Like trying to get the Molly shakes off as I'm like just trying to get Joss Whedon's sweat out of my hair. And this year was just a different world. It was crazy.
Oh, that's fucking bizarre.
That's
so weird.
I was in bed alone at 10 p.m. at Comic-Con.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My nightmares dream coming true.
They ruined Comic-Con for
They
you.
ruined being good at Comic-Con. Ruined Comic-Con.
Now, that was promoting Dirk Gently?
Dirk Gently, and also my comic book Green Valley.
Now, Dirk Gently, I've read 2 of the books.
There are only 2.
Okay, then I've read both books. I remember I read 2 of them. I didn't know if there were more than that. But how did you wind up getting tapped to convert a great series from Douglas Adams, who's sort of a legendary writer in the sci-fi world? How did that come to you?
Well, it's interesting. I'd had a meeting years before with a guy named Arvind David, who's obsessed with Dirk Gently and was friends with Douglas Adams.
Yeah.
And he and I are not similar guys, but we have a similar vibe. We appreciate things in the same way. And me and Arvind in that room years ago, pre-Chronicle, was like, I've read some of your writing samples. Would you ever be interested in doing Dirk Gently for TV? And I was like, yeah, of course, duh. Because people don't know this, but my gateway into Douglas Adams was Dirk Gently.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I was at a summer camp.
That's like backwards from the way most people do it. Yeah.
I was at a summer camp, and the summer camp had a library of books you were allowed to read, and I didn't have any friends, and I later got kicked out of this summer camp for being an annoying nightmare as I was when I was a child.
Where was it?
It was in Maine.
Okay.
It was like a sleepaway camp.
Where they said things like, "Hey, don't do that," and you did 9 more of that.
No, they were like, "Hey, don't do that," and then I'd do something. They'd be like, "We hadn't even thought anymore."
There you go.
I had a tantrum because there was a dinner I didn't like, and went down and wrecked a canoe, and wrecked it into the lake.
Holy shit!
Don't get me started. Yeah. I had a lot of behavioral problems when I was younger.
Pretty strong though too.
No, if you can push something when you're like 12. Anyway, but prior to all that, prior to me being Nightmare Child, which I feel like I talk about in public too much, as is, I got this book called The Long Dark Tea Time of the Soul.
Yeah.
And I stole it from the camp when I left because I was midway through it and I was loving it so much. And then I finished it and I told my parents, I was a big reader, even though I was kind of a crazy kid. I was a huge reader. Heinlein, Asimov, very, very dedicated science fiction reader, because one of my mentors, Forey Ackerman, would give me books because he knew I liked to try to write stories. So I was like, this guy, Douglas Adams, what else has he written? And so they took me to a Borders, and my dad was like, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He's a very well-respected author. And I was like, whatever. Is there more Dirk Gently books? So
Wow.
It turned out there was one, and it turned out I'd read the sequel to that one.
Yeah, because Tea Time was the second one.
Yeah, and also, the creator of Dirk Gently will say this publicly, Tea Time's a better one by a lot.
Yes, it is a better book.
Yes, it's more fun, it's more engaging. So I read the first one, and I was like, okay, that was pretty good. I loved the couch and the horse and Chronotis, but it felt more stiff and British. I was like, well, what has this guy written? And I actually remember we were in a Barnes & Noble when I asked. We were at the Barnes & Noble in Santa Monica on the Santa Monica 3rd Street Promenade.
Sure.
And I was like 14 or 13 at the time. And I was like, do you have any Douglas Adams books? And the guy who I asked, his face just lit up.
Yeah.
And he was like, I have 4 I can give you right now. And I was like, 4? And he was like, it's called Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Trust me, just buy them.
And I read them in, 2.5
like a
weeks.
weekend. Just
I just ate them up. And I just adored it. And I adore how different each one is.
Yeah.
Because he's learning. You can feel Douglas Adams learning to be a better writer.
It's interesting, too. I mean, he's a guy who wrote not just books, but he was a Doctor Who writer back in the 70s.
That's where Dirk started.
Yeah.
Dirk started as not rejected, but a sort of neglected Doctor Who storyline.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's why That's why it's ironic that BBC America is like the Doctor Who network. They have Doctor Who.
They've got the cartoon they're showing now.
The cartoon, this new show coming soon, Class, and finally Dirk, which is sort of a child of Doctor Who in its own right.
Oh man, this is really incredible. This is the reason why we do the Nighttime Show podcast, to have conversations like this.
Yeah.
Isn't this amazing, Matt? Aren't you having the best time?
The best time ever.
You know what? You would make it a better time?
I don't know. What would make it a better time?
Fireball whiskey.
That would make it a better time.
Guess what, folks? I happen
You
to
brought
bring.
Fireball.
I brought a bottle of Fireball with me.
That's awesome.
Let's have some. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, Matt, but this is a true fact about Fireball whiskey. You can hear the Fireball whiskey if you listen closely to the bottle. I'll put it up to the
Like a
microphone.
shell at the beach?
Yeah, it's like a shell at the beach. Here, but it can talk to you.
Okay.
Hang on, I'll put it up to the microphone.
Oh man, this has been a really great podcast, y'all.
That's
crazy.
the Fireball. That's the
Whoa.
bottle of Fireball. So I'm gonna hang it. Wait, hang it. I'm gonna put it again up to the microphone.
I actually dated a shell once. It didn't work out, but yeah, it was a really good
Well,
like
you
comparison.
dated a show?
Yeah,
A
a
shell.
shell.
Oh, a shell.
That was a good comparison. Good pull, man.
He would Fireball would actually go down to the beach and people have these bonfires.
Oh, such
Yeah.
a good time.
They left the bottle right by a couple shells
Yep.
and they started hooking up. And
I had a threesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
You
awesome.
and a shell and a oyster.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Fireball's having a better time than I am.
You.
Well,
Well, if you
put me in
drank
it.
some of this
Yeah,
stuff,
there you
I
go.
would.
if you drank some of this, you'd have a better time. I'm going to drink some right now. All right,
Okay.
here we
Yeah,
go.
and then
Popping
pass it
the
on.
lid off.
Here we go.
All right,
it's
I'm
not gonna
taking it
hurt.
down.
Whoa.
Oh, that was some great Fireball. Now it's in my belly.
Oh, hey, it's dope down here, man.
Yeah. We got that whole new sound system set up. What are you listening to down there?
Oh my gosh! Well, right now I'm listening to a little bit of the Cherry Poppin' Daddies and Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Oh wait, hold on,
all right.
hold on.
It's a ska party down there.
Yeah, there's a little ska part. Wait, you like you too?
Of course, I like U2. It's one of the greatest bands of all time.
Oh,
Matt, are you
man.
a big U2 fan?
My least favorite band of all time.
Well, maybe you should drink some of me and change your
drink some-
mind.
Yeah, you get some Fireball on your stomach. Do me a favor, would you? Just for Matt, kick U2 out of there. Kick
All right.
U2 out of my stomach.
All right, I'm gonna change the CD.
With or without you. Let's kick. All right, there we go.
All right.
Yeah, they're out.
Nice. Whoa, Drake.
Yeah, now we got some Drake
All right,
down there.
now
All
we're
right.
talking. Good.
All right,
This
so
is good.
hey, you enjoy being in my stomach. I'm going
right.
to enjoy you being in my stomach. And Matt, let's get some in your stomach. You
Pass
know
the
what?
Fireball.
Fireball whiskey. It's the best, especially when it's inside of you.
That's the only way.
All right, let's get back to the show. Now, you're a creator on this show, as well
I am
as
the-
you're
I'm-
the creator
and
of
the head
show.
writer and the
And head
co-showrunner.
writer. Okay, so you get to spend a lot of time with this cast, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay, so you get to work with my next door neighbor, Neil Brown Jr.
Oh my
who
God.
literally is my next door neighbor. We live within a wall of each other.
I adore him.
He is the sweetest,
When will
hardest
this?
working guy.
When will this episode of your podcast come out?
This will air within the next week. Within the next week or two.
In the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I should say I'm so sad that I kill him in the finale. We loved working with him so much that he gets a real fuck you death in the
Really?
Terrific.
It's very unfair.
Wow.
I don't know if you're watching the show, but he's a character who you kind of are led to believe has become one of the leads.
Yeah.
And we kill him in the last minute and a half.
Oh,
Whoa.
And-
you bastard.
Well, the last minute and a half of the final season of my goofy show
Yeah.
is the darkest season finale I have ever seen or heard of.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's like if you
my God.
Will the internet be outraged? Is Reddit going to be
ideally
like up in arms?
I hope they'll be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I hope they'll be like, I'm so happy they got me.
Mm-hmm.
But, the question is, it was how it ended from the end of the pilot. I was like, this is how the
This is
first
what's gonna
season
happen.
ends. And every time I would tell one of the other writers, who worked with us in the writer's room, there were 3 of them, they would go, what? Oh my God. And I was like, yeah, this is the plan. This has been the plan. It was always, so if you've seen the finale, God, I hope I didn't just spoil it for anyone.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, somebody
spoiler alert.
pulls out their phone and starts writing at
Are
you.
you going back to shoot more of that show, or what's
I
happening?
am.
Yeah.
I in about 45 days, we reopen the writers' room. We're meeting with new writers now. We're adding writers because we need them because we have the show. The ratings were
It did very well, right?
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
Our 7th episode just aired, and it's our highest viewed episode other than the pilot.
That's great.
Elijah Wood's so
If it
damn
builds
good.
like that, that's awesome.
He's so good on it, too.
Thank you. I don't know why I'm thanking you, but I'm tremendously proud of the show. Of the things I've made, it and Chronicle are just, it's exactly how I wrote it.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
And, Dirk's very weird and not for everybody,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like, it was so nice, I'm a writer whose stuff, Mr. Right and especially American Ultra, and even my movie I directed, Me, Him, Her, I always felt they were sort of unfairly critically torn apart. And I don't read reviews, but I never realized that I felt that way, and sort of was always like, I don't care about reviews until all the good reviews came in for my last 3 things. My last 4 things. When Channel Zero got good reviews, which is more Nick Antosca than me by a lot. Sure. But when that got good reviews, I was like, I made that happen. When DIRK got good reviews, I was like, thank Christ. And then American Alien being received the way it was, I would cry. I would look through the reviews and cry, which, by the way, you can't do, because you can never do that, because then when the bad reviews
You get
come
too
out,
attached.
when the bad reviews run out, you'll cry then too, but it won't be fun.
Yeah, you are so vocal online about the way that you feel about things. It is really fucking refreshing and really interesting, and I fucking love it, dude. I love it.
Yeah. I feel like it's a problem. I feel like it's becoming a problem.
Do you get in trouble for? Because I just got in trouble for I made a short film with Loot Crate, the toy company, and then they put out the video, and it got like 140,000 views on Facebook, and I started looking at the comments, and some guy wrote something like, "This is a bunch of garbage" or something like this, and I commented, "Your mom's pussy is garbage," or something. I said something like really fucking. I went after a bunch of people, and I got in trouble for it. I was like, "Son of a bitch, I'm not doing this right." Well, so how do you do it? How do you do it correctly?
Firstly, I never go after people. I almost never insult people. Even when I talk about movies I hate, I don't insult the creators behind them. I don't insult the writers or the directors generally. Almost never.
Sure.
I don't insult other people online. Right. I'm not mean to people who insult me on Reddit. I do my best to. Sometimes I'm a little bitchy, but within the last 2 years, I've really tried to just cut that out of my personality. I'm not here to start a fight. And if you don't like something that I've created, okay. But you have to understand... I'm very vocal with my opinions on movies, but I never attack underdogs.
Sure.
If I have a problem with Star Wars, it's not like Star Wars gives a shit about me.
Right.
Yeah.
If I have a problem with Harry Potter, it's not like Harry Potter's going to be mad because I tweeted, but people identify the shit so personally to them that they take it as an attack. And it's not an attack. And it's funny because I just love talking. I just love talking about this shit. Yeah. And what's funny and what drives me crazy is you, Stephen... You have no conception of the level of hatred I receive. I'm not a famous person functionally. I come home to death threats.
I've seen the things that people write about you.
People make jokes about the Twilight Zone accident in which my father was in which 2 children died and Vic Morrow died. People make jokes about it casually. It's like, that's not a small thing in my life. Wow. Feel free to send me a tweet about that because you didn't like a fucking movie. Yeah. It's like, wow. And it's always hard because there is that urge to say your mother's pussy.
I know. Well, sometimes Matt gives me shit for it when I do it the wrong way.
And I'm a horrible person.
He's a bad person. That's why,
Well, I mean, look, I have a website dedicated just to my hate mail because I get the same kind of thing where I've received, dozens and dozens of death threats on Twitter for nothing. It's people because I say that Justin Bieber sucks, and then teenage girls are like, I'm going to find you and stab you with a knife in the eyeball. I'm like, okay, well,
you just take their
you're 14, calm down,
and put it in the.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. But teenagers are the worst. They're the worst.
I deal with sort of 2 brands of haters, and I've classified them, and I don't dislike either of them. Mm-hmm. They make me feel sad sometimes, but I understand them. One of them is people who disagree with me and find me annoying because I'm very loud, I'm very intense, I state my opinions as fact.
Yeah.
I talk a lot. And if you're a little bit insecure with yourself or a little bit insecure about your opinions, or you just don't like the sound of my voice, that guy, you're very like, man, someone shut that guy up. And I've dealt with that in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But those people can never parse how they feel. So instead they say stuff like, this guy thinks he's a genius, or he's, because I'm saying that. So they attack me as a human instead of just being more.
Instead of saying they disagree with you, they're saying fuck this guy instead of this guy's wrong.
I hate this guy. And there's sort of this. I'm kind of I can get obnoxious. I'm loud and I'm intense. I'm like my dad.
But you can back up your side also.
Oh yeah, and I try to never be mean to people.
Well, that's the real thing though. Is if you go after like Westworld, like the finale of Westworld, I immediately after watching the finale, I sat there and I was like, oh God, what did Max Landis say about this? Because this made me want to fucking punch myself in the face. Like I loved Westworld and watched it slowly kind of.
It went from being interesting to being the most ridiculous show on television in the span of 4 episodes.
Well, then,
I'm telling you now.
Excuse me, my show is the most ridiculous show on television. Thank you very much.
Let me tell you this.
I love seeing the way that you kind of put it, which was like it's a gorgeous looking show.
Yes, very well made.
I'm a fan of Westworld.
Yeah, but you didn't attack. You didn't attack J.J. Abrams. You didn't attack people.
I'm done. By the way, I'm done. Never again.
Matt does.
I'm never going to watch anything else J.J. Abrams says his name on ever again because every single time I get pissed off and I'm done. I'm out.
There's a style.
What happens with Matt?
I can't take it anymore. I'm out.
Okay, so
he blew up Vulcan. That's too much for me. I can't. Fuck him. You don't blow up Vulcan. What the fuck's wrong with you? You can't blow up Vulcan.
I'm on a podcast with that guy.
I'm that guy. You can't blow up Vulcan. You can't do it.
All right, Matt. Drink your soda.
Right.
Relax for a second.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because there's two things. They're both. I believe J.J. Abrams and Chris Nolan are among the biggest geniuses of this generation. Our generation lacks a James Cameron, which has been frustrating because James Cameron has been busy.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about Westworld is that the good things about it are the perfect intersection of projects they've been associated with. Mm-hmm. And the things that are problematic about it, incidentally, are also those things. Westworld refuses to acknowledge the questions it asks, instead guiding you towards questions, the answers to which are made less important by the questions you're asking by yourself. Okay, so like the maze. What is the maze? Is Dolores becoming sentient?
Yeah.
What is the connection between what's going on with William and Dolores and the Man in Black? What is going on with Bernard? What is Ford's new narrative? Mm-hmm. What is going to happen with Maeve? These are all questions the show wants you to be asking and wants you to be theorizing about. However, you are substantially, or at least I am, and I know many other people are too, substantially distracted from these questions by questions the show asks you not to ask. How do the bullets work?
Yeah. Right.
How does surveillance in the park work? And for that matter, how does surveillance behind the scene work?
Why do they need to call in an explosion to have it authorized at one point? I'm like...
No. Rules are repeatedly introduced and then thrown away.
Right.
What are the rules of interacting with other guests? As shown in the finale, you are allowed to violently beat and sexually assault other guests. He strips his brother-in-law naked because he's too into a LARPing video game. Yeah. And I understand that the story needs you to do that, but as established in the first 2 episodes, that's not something that can happen. By the way, slow down. Like, I can talk on Westworld because
right, of course,
there simply are gaps.
Yeah.
Distracting gaps.
Yeah.
The fact that the park's surveillance is that bad is shocking.
It's better at Disneyland.
No. It's better in a mall. It's better at a public school.
Yeah.
And by the way, I mean, like, then you get into stuff, those questions are one thing, like the guns. Oh, I can believe it's some sort of RMF thing, but how come the bullets can go through an armored train but not a person?
Yeah.
And then in the finale, if you get shot with too many of the bullets, you, like, fall asleep?
Yeah,
what? And then the shocking thing is they keep having opportunities to handwave these things. To say like, well, Ford was manipulating it the whole time. So that's why none of it was caught on surveillance.
Yeah.
Right.
Except then they show the people in the security room go,
Watching.
hey, is anything weird going on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the robots are murdering everyone.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
lockdown. But then it's like, okay, so if you guys could see that, how come you can't see the thing that the robot is using to blackmail these people
Yeah.
that you could also see?
And by the way,
And it just spreads.
the
problem spread and spread.
what
Yeah, it's a
possible thing can the robot have to blackmail these human beings where they can't just be like, well, I'm just going to reset you and then we're done?
Yeah,
It's like-
and they don't. By the
The
way,
robots do things that
Yeah.
make sense to me in that show. The humans do things that make no sense whatsoever. Like the robots at least act in the way that I expect the robots to act based on what they've told me about them. But then the people do things and you're like, wait, why the fuck would they do that? It makes no sense.
well, then there's
Drives me nuts.
Then there's just shit that's like, what the fuck is this? Like that just that you probably didn't even think to ask, but they're the sort of questions that go to my brain right away.
Right.
All those naked hosts. They arrive at the big thing to put on to kill everyone at the end, remember?
Yeah.
With all the weapons? They're all wearing clothes.
yeah, where'd they
Right.
get clothes?
When did they put on clothes?
Yeah. Who put clothes on them?
Who put the clothes on?
Yeah,
them?
because they don't put their own clothes on. They show them always being dressed by human beings.
Hey,
Right.
here's another one. Remember how they were all in that big room? The only way in and out of that area that we've been shown is an elevator that fits about 6 people.
Yeah.
So did
Yeah.
the hosts all go into elevator group by group,
One-
go up to the park, go through all the security things.
Yeah.
I understand that
You
Ford
know- That's
a good
enabled it,
point.
but it's too many.
Let me tell you something. There's an old thing that always caught me off guard in the movie, and I know I brought it up earlier, but in the movie Independence Day, there's a scene in the movie where the president is he goes, "How did I not know about this?" when he sees the aliens.
Right.
And the vice president goes, "You weren't cleared for that type of knowledge." And he goes, "Well, guess what? Now you're fired." And the vice president's like, "What? You can't do that." And then this black lady turns and goes, "He just did." And that happens in the movie. And then the vice president, he has to like go home because he's lost his job
During Independence Day?
During the apocalypse, he has to like go home to his wife, and he has to ride the elevator back up to the surface, and it's just so like it never gets handled, and it always bothered me that we see him later, and you're like,
The truth is that things like that shouldn't be bothering you. All
Right.
shows have things like this.
sure,
Everything has questions that are unanswerable and oversights. I'm sure all of my work definitely does.
Well,
But ideally, because
I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna say no. I'm just saying, in general, everybody has
every
things.
movie has stuff like that. That if you look at it too hard, you start to see the cracks. The thing with certain shows
Right.
that center around mysteries is that they're so busy talking about the mystery, they forget to distract you from
Yeah.
your questions.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately, there wasn't anything to distract us from these questions.
Yeah.
No.
But except other questions.
Okay, now I gotta
Be a magician. Give me some patter while you do your sleight of hand over
Exactly.
here,
Well, by
and they're not
patter.
doing it.
How about just a human character who we really care about?
Yeah, one human being who's like a good person.
Yeah, or an interesting person.
Yeah,
William, is brilliantly acted. By the way, I like Westworld. I would never tell
Yeah.
anyone like Westworld's a piece of shit. I like
it's
Westworld,
very
and
well
I'm-
made.
It's not very
But
well
I'm
made.
out.
It's the best. It's as someone who
gorgeous.
just ran a television show, it's the best made show on television. The fact that they are able to execute it at that level,
Yeah.
with that production design, granted they got a lot of money,
Yeah.
but I mean that's a testament to the
A lot of what they did
people
with the
who made
music
it.
is cool in there too, because they did a lot of like orchestral versions of rock songs,
I loved that.
which
Yeah,
was
it was
kind of
fun.
cool.
I think
Like
that
you hear them and you're like that sounds familiar, and you're like, oh wait, that's a Nine Inch Nails song.
Let's not. I don't want to crap on anyone else's stuff in this podcast anymore.
no. We got to talk about something that's.
I feel like
Yeah.
critics
Very-
resent me because I do a lot of critique.
No, I think. Look, we all talk.
Maybe
Well-
the joke is, of course, oh, is that why critics resent me?
No. Me and Matt actually went and saw Chronicle together
By the way,
in
saw
the
it in the
theater.
theater.
In the theater together. We've
a
been friends.
lot of people did.
Yeah.
I'm so
Okay.
happy you. Thank you.
I fucking
don't
loved
like superhero movies because I don't care about superheroes, but I loved Chronicle. Loved that movie.
Chronicle is not a superhero movie.
It
It has more in common with Carrie than it does with Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's because the movie I go and watching and I'm like, okay, there's gonna be like teenage superheroes or something. Like that's what I thought about it because I didn't know anything about it. I go and I watch and I'm like, this movie was fucking great.
a fucking great movie.
Because like it starts off and it's sort of like sci-fi-ish.
Wait,
and
are
was-
you watching Dirk right now?
I've seen a couple episodes.
You motherfucker.
I haven't seen the rest
We're
of
going to
it.
talk about a movie from 5 years ago. I'm kidding. Thank you.
I have a DVR'd from BBC America, but I've been fucking busy.
That's
so I haven't
okay,
seen
man.
more
I
than 2
understand.
episodes. But I will watch it because I love the
It's
books.
okay. Enough people are watching.
And I'm like,
happy.
No,
well,
it's a great
because also I
show.
like to binge things, so like I'm
Oh,
waiting
yeah.
to build it up, and then I can watch it out in a weekend. Because like
Hell
Westworld,
yeah.
I watched in 2 weekends. I'm like, I banged it out, and then I'm like, all right,
You also watched every episode of every version of every Star Trek show.
yes.
In how long did it take you to watch?
Well, that took a good 9 months to get through all of them.
Yeah, but
That sounds punishing.
it
But
was-
I'm a big Trekker, so it's. And then I still watch every fucking night. I watch like 3 hours of Start. I watch. I watch Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise if
I
I'm
know.
home because
So
it's on.
you hanging out
TV.
with the Kazons for 2 seasons. The fucking Kazons. They were just a haircut.
Yeah, I mean the Zindi were kind of annoying, but it's this.
Lord.
Yeah, I mean I've seen all of it, but I'm a big
loved
Star Trek
that.
nerd. But
I
no,
loved-
Chronicle.
I loved it, man.
Like when we saw the movie.
I used to sing to myself on my bike ride to college every day. I would sing. Bum, 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 bum. The Voyager theme is the best theme.
Bum, bum, bum.
We had Brandon.
Yeah.
we
Braga.
had Brandon Braga in here.
The best one is it goes bum 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 bum, and it's like is this the end? It goes na na na.
Yeah, it builds back up.
up. It's
The thing is, it's so
you
weird.
go through the ring of the
Yeah, because Brandon Braga's 2 shows that he's like the hardcore creator of is Voyager and then Enterprise. So he's the guy who brought us the best music and the worst music in that franchise.
That's totally
He's
true.
also the guy who brought us sexy Star Trek.
Oh.
There is no hotter episode of Star Trek than Tom Paris and B'Elanna Torres in that cave.
That's pretty hot, although I'll tell you the hotter thing. Enterprise, mirror episode, mirror Hoshi knife fighting with mirror T'Pol while they're both wearing like crop tops and they got their shirts tied off was the hottest thing
Yeah,
I've ever
but
seen in
that's
Star
like
Trek.
to me, that's like such a let's have a sexy scene.
It was, and
where-
I thank him for it.
For me, the B'Elanna
Because T'Pol's my favorite. Like, she's the hottest in all the history of Star Trek. There's nobody hotter than
Where'd
T'Pol.
she? What did that happen to that actress?
Jolene Blalock? I follow her on Twitter. I don't think she does much.
She's behind that couch.
Oh, hey, look, hey, Jolene. For me, what I loved about the Tom Paris B'Elanna Torres episode, that I adored, was his respect and refusal to hook up with her, and then at the end when they're in the turbo lift together and it's so awkward, and then episodes pass. And now there's like a thing,
Now there's a thing, yeah.
kind of between them, and it builds and builds and builds until they finally actually get together. But I thought, like, what great television writing in hindsight.
That show.
I gotta jump off Star Trek for a second because we only have.
Yeah, we got to get back to Max Landis stuff. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. I also saw American Ultra in the theater.
What was it like to be in there alone?
Oh, come on!
You know what? I love that movie.
It's a fucking cool movie, man. I actually wrote about it like online right after I saw it, and I was just like, "This is such a fucking cool
So
movie."
did Stephen King.
Did he really?
What?
Yeah, he said American Ultra's. He tweeted American Ultra's great. I don't understand why it's not a hit. And it was like the most. I saw it and I was like, thank you.
Wow.
Holy crap!
That's amazing.
I write on airplanes like Noah Hawley.
Is that how you write most of your stuff, or how do you?
That when I write something super fast, like when I wrote Deeper in 2 days.
Yeah, like I read about that deeper.
Yeah.
You're
he
making
was telling me
Dirk.
this.
I just read about this in the New York Times. I looked you up. And
that
they
was
said something.
higher. That was Deeper. I wrote.
Oh, different one. They said like you're doing Dirk and you took 7 hours, wrote a script,
Yeah,
and then sold it for
Deeper.
$2 million.
Yeah.
That's the best 7 hours anybody's ever spent. By the way,
Stop.
There we go.
I got.
It's the coolest thing I've ever heard
I
in my
was
life.
doing Dirk and it was stressing me out every day. And I had this idea for a trilogy of scripts called The Measures.
Mm-hmm.
And The Measures, my idea was to get really interesting directors who I sunk up with creatively and sell them independently, which I failed to do because we got too big of bids. So I sort of sold out, although we'll probably sell higher in a more independent way. And now Deeper, production's a year away because we have to wait for Bradley Cooper, which is frustrating, but it's the nature of the business.
Wow.
And I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky. But Deeper was funny because I got this idea for The Measures of 3 scripts that all take place in one location until they don't. That one of them features one person on screen until it doesn't. One of them features 2 people on screen until there's more. And one of them features 3 people on screen. And they each of them represents a different element. air, water, and earth. A different element of the planet, not fire, because it's a temporary element, and I wanted them to be lasting things. And each of them takes place in real time. And so I was like, that sounds cool. And each of them deals with an emotional issue. Deeper's is depression and loss. Higher's is love and commitment. And Further's is family and ambition, the connection, the things we get from our parents and the things we give to them. And so I was like, I should write those when I'm done with DIRK. Well, Deeper is this. I had the idea for the beginning of Deeper, and I was like, yeah, I should just write that one scene. And so I started to write it on an airplane, except for the thing I forgot is it's real time. It's all one scene. So I got into 70 pages in like 2.5 hours.
Holy shit.
And I was writing it, and my girlfriend at the time was like, what are you writing? And I was like, Deeper. And she was like, the one you told me about with the guy in the pod? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, shouldn't you be working on DIRK? And I said, I think I'm going to finish this in the next hour.
And she's like, don't you have a job to work?
She was a writer too, so her reaction was more, fuck you.
Yeah.
and I finished it. When I finished it, I looked at it and I was like, well, that's the best thing I've ever written. And I'm very proud of Deeper and Higher. And I guess we'll see if they make good movies. But
wow.
Great. That's amazing.
I wrote Higher in 2 days. Because
what about American Ultra? Where did you write that?
American Ultra I wrote on my couch over the course of a month.
Yeah?
Because I wanted... But American Ultra, the script, is very similar to the movie, but the movie, a lot of the more relationship-y, emotional stuff, sort of the tone of American Ultra kind of got changed a little bit. If you read the script, it's much more of sort of a very sweet... There are moments of it that shine through in the movie, and I like the movie, but more of a sweet indie comedy that then slowly is invaded by a Bourne movie.
Wow.
And that was sort of what got those actors and was the relationship at the center of the movie.
They're great together too.
I wish there's a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor of them from the first half.
Really?
Yeah, because I wanted to show why such an obvious, beautiful winner would be with such an obvious loser. Because we all know that couple where the girl is, you're like, why are you with that guy?
Yeah.
And you also
Yes, Steven.
Don't look at me like that, you son of a bitch.
and
Such a bastard.
but you also occasionally know that couple where it's like, why is he with that girl? But that's harder to dramatize in a way that won't feel sexist. And so I was like, I want to do a movie about that couple and really show the little moments that make them beautiful, and then challenge that with, but none of it's real. And the script for American Ultra is like, I'm very proud of it, and I'm very proud of that film too.
Yeah, Kristen's fucking amazing.
Isn't she great?
She's so great.
Isn't
She's
she
fucking great?
She's so fun. And
Yeah.
when I don't want to ruin American Ultra for people who haven't seen it, which is most of you, but
Go see it, you fucking idiots! What's the matter with you?
Now, early in your career, I think your first IMDb credit is that you were in the movie, which I've seen more times than I'd care to admit, The Stupids with Tom Arnold.
Some people can be throwing.
Now, did that come together? How old were you at the time? It was
My dad directed that movie.
Holy
Yeah.
shit!
And
I didn't know your dad directed that one. Okay,
I didn't know that.
so that's why that.
People don't know a lot of my dad's later credits. And you know this, you're behind the scenes.
Yeah.
People have a totally fallacious view of the way the power structure works around here. Mm-hmm. Because nepotism only works if you're on top of the world.
Yeah.
And you're rolling.
Yeah.
And other than that, it's all relationships and momentum. It's not even talent. Talent's part of it.
Yeah.
If you're talented enough, you can break through anywhere. But the amount of things that are just trusting the right people or not trusting the right people, or the amount of Game of Thrones Peter Baelish that you do in this industry, they don't teach you it in film school. They can't prepare you for it. And so, it's funny because one of the big criticisms of me is, Frankenstein was a flop. Victor Frankenstein, the title they gave it. And American Ultra didn't do well. Although it's come back in some other ways, in ways that are kind of fun. Mr. Right was a small release, were the biggest Focus features ever, but it didn't get great reviews. Mm-hmm. And my movie, Me, Him, Her, barely came out at all and got okay reviews. So people repeatedly ask, well, how is he still working? And the answer is the scripts are good.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yeah.
So it's this thing where they don't understand how divorced a movie is from every level on its way to becoming a movie.
Yeah.
You know? And there's no way to articulate that. But I wish they taught that in school when you go to LA, because I watch people get fucked over as they discover that and hurt.
I'm sure you have been fucked over, you know, horribly. Is there any time that you can tell us about that's happened where you're okay to talk about it?
I've been twice on things that I won't say if they got made or not, but I've been cut out of the process to the point where someone's personality, a person involved in a project's personality. I'll just talk about one that didn't get made.
Okay.
A person had a very strong personality on the project.
Sure.
And I have a strong personality, but not generally when I'm in these rooms.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a big personality, but I'm not known for like arguing notes a lot. Otherwise, I wouldn't work much. Right. But this person had their own, they were the engine behind the project, and they had their own thing they wanted to do with my idea. And everyone said, don't do this because it's not good. And eventually I blew up and said, don't do this, it's not good. And they said, no one said that to them, to the person, the most powerful person.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, why isn't anyone backing me up? And they're like, well, we don't want him to yell at us and get mad. And I was like, okay, but we all are having this secret meeting talking about how off the rails this has gotten.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, but we don't want anyone, you know, we don't want to piss him off. And it was like...
So you put out garbage just to not piss someone off?
This is the incredible thing. First of all, it didn't get made.
Yeah.
Right.
Second of all, and this is the incredible thing, no one in that room but me was a writer. So no one in that room had an emotional stake in what was happening.
Yeah.
Wow.
So for them, it was easier not to piss someone off. And these are people who work on good movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the industry, sometimes there will be a moment where you just don't want to get yelled at. And you're a creative exec or a producer. And you're like, this isn't worth me being yelled at.
Sure, yeah.
And so I am put into a position where I'm like, okay, I guess this is happening. And guess what? Couldn't find the money for it. Went away.
Yeah.
And so it was like... Yeah. It was one of those things where I was like, oh, I remember when I wrote that script and I liked it. And now it's air.
Now, is it poison for you? Like that whole idea, even is it in your mind?
I've
like the
moved
whole
on.
thing? Yeah.
I'm a showrunner on, you know, I got a new comic coming out. I got 2 movies. I got a movie.
We got to talk. We
Now,
got to talk
something real
about,
quick I got to ask you about.
Yeah, okay.
You directed an Ariana Grande video?
Yeah, I did.
What?
Yeah, we had a day to shoot it, and it was like this very effects heavy thing. I've been friends with Ariana for years.
Okay.
She's great.
Through Matt Bennett and the Victorious Kids. You know,
I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
How do you know them?
Matt Bennett's one of my best friends. He's like my little brother. I met him at Cinefamily.
So
6 years now.
Victorious was followed
course,
my
it's
show.
in your show.
of Big Time Rush. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know the
Yeah,
whole. That's how
Oh,
I thought I knew
love-
you, bro.
Yeah. Oh, I love Bennett, dude. He's terrific, and I love Cinefamily. Those guys are amazing. I just pitched them a thing called Pilot Purgatory, where we show pilots that never made it to air.
No, that's wonderful.
Into
like,
that.
Like, what was it called? Rocket Jetpack and the Jack Black one.
Oh yeah, it was called. I'm forgetting the name, but yeah, we have a cartoon with Sam Jackson starring in it that has never made it to air. That he voiced, and then we have the Curb Your Enthusiasm styled LMFAO pilot that they paid for themselves. They spent $150,000 shooting a pilot in Australia or New Zealand that is all like but it's them going like what the fuck are we gonna do? This is the worst day of our lives.
Is it good?
It's fucking hilarious and horrible at the same time.
Perfect.
But it's really male. It's very very chauvinistic. It's very like not like they try to hire a fat mermaid and just put her in a tank and she's too fat for the fucking case that they put her into.
I think
it's really funny. I mean, it's good stuff.
You know, that's what got me the most about Westworld, and the question that like haunts me because my imagination's too good. Mm-hmm. And it like really gets to me, which is I was like, first of all, Westworld is a park just for men.
Yeah.
Like they say like, look at this woman with a rifle. She gets gone down on by a robot. And it's sort of like, first of all, women, that's not really, I mean, like, that's not a vibrator. Like that it's a robot, you know, what if it's not good at going down on her? It's a very personal thing for a woman. It's not like just a blowjob where it's like, wow, I'm glad I'm getting this. And then like, secondly, like, do women, is there a big female audience for shooting people in the head? And like, and in this world, but then you go a step further, and this really got me. So there's two. So we see a family in Westworld, a human family with a little boy.
Yeah.
You bring your fucking kid to Westworld?
Yeah, you're crazy.
To rape land? To rape, murder? We see someone's face get blown off in the safe area in the town.
Yeah.
Right.
A kid could fucking see that. And then you go one step further, and you know that there are kid robots that you can murder.
Yeah.
Right.
What else can you do to the kid robots?
Oh shit.
And I was just like watching it, and I was like, okay, so this is occurring to me.
You should just lock up anybody that's ever been to Westworld. Lock them all up.
Yeah.
They're all bad people who should not be in society.
It's definitely Nightmare Land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't let you murder children in Grand Theft Auto. You know, and it's like it's presented as a big popular thing in the world.
Yeah.
Lots of people on the trains going in and out, especially in the finale.
Yeah.
Also, by the way,
How could you have that many people in there at once? It seems like it would be chaos.
it makes no sense.
Yeah.
What if you're getting off the train with your family and a guy turns and shoots a girl in the head and then stards having sex with her dead body on the ground in front of the train?
They can do it.
Can do that.
Because there's no rules. You're not stopped from doing anything. And there's apparently no surveillance.
Yeah.
And like, I was watching it and I was like, how is this happening? And then it's like, and those are the questions in Westworld. But those are also the questions that you can't ask during The Purge.
Yeah.
Is like a mom, you know, like The Purge is dark, but it's not really dark.
Yeah.
It's not a little boy all year hates that he has a new baby sister and doesn't understand empathy enough not to throw her out the window during The Purge.
Yeah.
It's not that dark.
It's not that dark.
They don't go for the throat. And
It's
so,
more cartoony.
Yeah, well, it's the whenever you have a big premise like that,
Right.
Sick motherfuckers are going to go, excuse me, but what if?
Right.
But what if?
Yeah.
But what if? Well, that's like the killing the Joker thing.
Right.
It's the same thing. Why is the Joker not fucking dead? How has a cop not shot him? He's around and antagonizing superpowered characters. Why is he not dead?
Yeah.
You want to know why that question doesn't come up? Because the stories the Joker in distract you with a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And you go, you know what? I believe he's alive because I want him to be alive because I'm enjoying this story.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect transition for us to talk about you writing the critically acclaimed New York Times bestseller Superman American Alien.
My favorite thing I've ever done in my life.
That is fucking incredible. Can you tell how did this happen? How did this go down?
When I was little, I mean, like, how far do you want me to go?
I mean, like,
Is that how far it
for
goes?
real?
Yeah.
Like, are you did you read it when you were? Did you read a lot of superhero comics when you were a kid? Did you have a lot of toys when you were a kid?
Oh, not a lot of toys because I'd break them all. But I did read a lot of comics, and I had a Superman toy where you'd squeeze his legs together and his arms would swing.
Yeah, that is superpowers. That is the superpowers, the DC superpowers collection.
It's incredible that you remember that.
I have
He
one
probably
on
has
my
it.
desk.
Yeah.
right now at home. That's
So
true.
my thing was, you know, when I was a child, I thought as a child, and I thought Batman was extremely cool. But then the more I got into Batman, the more I got into like, I don't get it. As I like hit age 10, I was like, so you're a billionaire with unlimited resources and you don't just contribute a lot of money to the police force and turn them all into Batmen?
Yeah.
And then like all the psychological stuff sort of started, but I was 10 and I was like, this is stupid. I don't want to hear about this guy. And of course I came back around on Batman and I love him. But Superman, something about from when I was really little on, this image of this guy, the image of Clark Kent stuck in my head. And of course, I'd later become so into fucking Spider-Man because it's the perfect superhero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Clark Kent was my first exposure to, there's a guy at an office who has a crush on someone who's more talented than him and better at their job than he is, has like normal friends, he has an apartment, and he's Superman. And that idea, more so than anyone's Superman story, although there are a million good Superman, well, not a million, but there are a few good Superman stories. That idea sang to me, and I became obsessed with it. And it's one of the things that made me want to be a writer. I mean, like, I'd already was on the path of being a writer when I was that age, but I was like, oh man, you know what would be a cool story? Is if you just saw a normal day at the office where nothing bad happened and you just got to see what he's like. Because he's fucking Superman.
Right, yeah.
And then I had this image that was going to be a cover on American Alien, and it never was, of him, of being in an apartment in your bedroom in your Superman costume that you wear when you're Superman. And like not having pants on, just having the, or just like, okay, I'm in my Superman costume now in my apartment. And there's like, my cat is here, but I'm also Superman. You know, Batman doesn't, there's no comparative image of that from Batman.
Yeah, no.
And it's like, I have a medium income job in the media. Also, I saved the world.
Yeah.
But when I get home from saving the world, oh my God, it's 11 p.m. Everything's closed. Yeah. I need to, how am I going to order pizza? I need food. Maybe I can call my friend. Hey, Jimmy, do you have anything in your fridge? Why? I've been out all night, a crazy night. Do you have food? Yeah, Clark, I have food. Do you want me like to take it there? No, I'll be there in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I get to your house in 5 minutes. Jimmy, you know, Clark, you're in Uptown. You can't get to my house in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm
can
to
do
your
it.
house in 5 minutes. He's standing on his bed in his underwear.
Yeah.
I'm on the street right now. I'm walking. You know, I'm on Saint Street in Uptown Metropolis. I can be at your place. I'm almost there right now. Jim be like, okay. Like, I'm putting on pants. There's a girl here. What, really? Is there a girl there? No, she's asleep, man. She went to the thing. What thing? Was there a thing tonight? Yeah, Clark. There's a friggin' gala mixer. Friggin' Oliver Queen threw that big thing. Oh, man, was I invited to that? Yeah, but Oliver Queen wasn't there. Yeah, I know he wasn't.
That's good.
Yeah.
So it's like something about that. Even when I was a little kid, I was like, oh, normal guy superhero? Who's a superhero? Who's the toughest superhero? And is doing it because it's nice?
Right.
No one died.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, what does that look like? And so, you know, there's Superman Birthright or all these different, or I think it's called, I always get the title wrong, but there's all these different really good Superman comics. But almost all of them focus entirely on the Superman part of him. Or if they focus on the Clark Kent part of him, it's, and this is why and how he became Superman. He becomes Superman in issue 5 of 7 in American Alien, and it's not even a thing we see happen.
Yeah.
We get sort of his inspirations there, but really it's not about, I've said this a million times, it's not about how Clark Kent became Superman, it's about how Clark Kent became Clark Kent, my version of that guy, who's a character that if my TV went away, if my movie career went away, if everything fell apart, I could write that character for 10 years in a comic and be happy.
Wow.
Because
Nice.
I could write that guy because he's nice and funny.
Yeah.
He's smart, but like not super smart. He's smart enough that he can out-talk most people, but when he encounters really smart people, they're smarter than him, which means a villain like Lex Luthor is extremely dangerous to my Superman.
Yeah.
And I just like, I got excited to do a lower power, lo-fi look into that character that wasn't about, it's just about, I mean, probably my favorite issue is issue 6, which is kind of controversial because it's a guy hanging out with his 2 childhood friends and things have gotten weird between them because the guy's gotten famous.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's dating a famous reporter who's on TV and he's on TV. Can you imagine how horrible it would be to be sitting at home in Kansas in a bar and see Doomsday arrive on TV and be like, holy shit, that's a giant monster. And then your best friend appears on TV? Can you imagine, who's your best friend? You guys have a best friend? Picture that guy on TV standing in front of a monster and you're like, it's okay, it can't hurt him, nothing can. And then it hits him and he's bleeding. Imagine how scared you would be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You would be so impotent. Pete Ross is one of my favorite characters because it's such a horrible spot to be in. To be a superhero's close, normal friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
Oh man.
Wow. Phenomenal, man.
That sounds vaguely along the same lines of a show. Probably my favorite superhero, if I think about it, is The Greatest American Hero.
Oh yeah, he loses the manual.
It's just a guy like he gets this thing and he's supposed to have all these powers and then he doesn't know how to do anything with them. And it's really more about him and his life and trying to avoid being a superhero as much as possible.
Yes.
But then he continually gets stuck into doing it. That show, I watch it all the time because it's on the same channel where they show Star Trek all the time, and it's on Saturday mornings, and I watch it every weekend.
You watch some TV, boy.
Do you know what this guy? You know,
How about instead of rewatching Greatest American Hero, you watch my show?
I will watch the show.
Gently Holistic Detective?
It's on my DVR. I'm waiting for it to build up. I'm going to binge the whole thing. I will watch it all in a weekend. I will tweet you about it when I watch it.
Swish.
Well, thank you guys.
It is a thing. I will watch it.
It's so amazing getting to sit down with you. And honestly, Max, your work is really fucking incredible. It's really amazing.
Can we ask one last thing before you wrap this up?
Yeah, sure. All right, fine. Okay. But what I wanted to just say is real quick is that I feel like we haven't even gotten to see we haven't even gotten to see what's next. Like we're all like, I'm waiting every time I see that you've gotten a deal or that you're doing another show or you're writing something or working on something. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, dude! I can't wait.
You
to
create
see
cool stuff.
You really do create cool stuff. Yeah, you really do, man.
It's funny. I'm on this very line drive to get more and more control of my stuff because it seems like when I have a lot of control, people like it. And the less control I have, the less people like it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's because I'm like this great talent or anything, but I think it's because my stuff is very tonally specific. Mm-hmm. And once you start going away from that tone that you read in the scripts, it starts being like...
It doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit. There's an oddness.
Yeah, I get that.
Deeper, higher, and further, I'm praying, I can never...
That sounds cool.
I can never guarantee the quality of anything I do that I'm not in charge of. But deeper, higher, and further... are the best things I've written in my own estimation, other than the viral Mickey comic Boys Night, which I really am proud of.
Now, one thing I want to ask you, I don't know how old you were at the time, but your father directed a legendary music video as well for Michael Jackson. Did you ever meet Michael Jackson?
I was not born.
Okay.
You weren't born yet?
Yes, I did meet Michael Jackson.
What was he like? Like, did you have any interaction with him? Because later on, your father was involved with the history.
I don't want to do that on a podcast.
Okay.
Nothing dark.
Nothing
dark. I met him during Black and White and stuff. Mm-hmm. I sort of knew him from there. Let's not talk about all the famous people I met when I was little from my dad. You know what a really funny, actually, you want to hear a different story?
Yes.
Anything.
So my dad directed a movie called Oscar. That's pretty funny. It's kind of weird. And it starred Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
And so my friends were very close with Sylvester Stallone.
Is that the one that also had, what's her face from the Golden Girls?
I don't know.
Okay.
But so
what's her face?
One of the six. Yeah.
But so one of my favorite stories from my youth. My parents would kill me for telling this story, but one of my favorite stories from my youth, that is like a Hollywood story, but it's also a story I feel comfortable telling, is I had real behavioral issues. Like real bad. And my parents were having this big dinner party. And all these people were coming over for dinner. And they were like, Max, please just stay in your room tonight. What? And I was like, okay, sure. I don't care. I don't want to meet your fucking friends. I was like this very malicious 7-8-year-old. I was like in that age range. Oh my God. And I was like, okay, fine. So I was sitting upstairs. I was like 8. I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. And so my parents weren't watching me because I was in my bedroom. So I went and took a shower in my dad's shower, which has this incredible rainforest shower. Mm-hmm. And I was this like scrappy, messy little weird kid. But I washed myself with, my mom had all these different types of body lotions and stuff. And I was like, spa day for Tiny Max. I actually really weirdly remember this incredibly well.
Oh my God, I love it.
And I was like, I'm having a little spa day. And I was like, I'm very relaxed. And so I had aromatic stuff in the shower, and I was like, this is great. So I got out of the shower, I'm in my parents' bathroom, and I'm like, well, my hair's a mess. And so I put hair, like, I don't remember if it was gel or mousse or something, but then I, like, put it off to the side so I look like a tiny gentleman. And I never combed my hair in my life.
The first time.
And the first time, and I was looking at myself, and I was like, my skin looks great. And I put on a bathrobe, one of my parents' bathrobes that was way too big on me.
Oh my God.
And then lifted up the side and tied it so it looked like a kimono. And there's no picture of me in this outfit, but it was a weird thing for a child to be wearing.
Yes.
And I had the perfect, like, little Hitler Youth hair.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I think I'd like a glass of milk. And so I walk downstairs in this totally relaxed state. And I come through the room with everybody. All the people are there. There was a bunch of famous people there. I think Michelle Pfeiffer was there. It was like, it was crazy. It was like, you know, the 80s Landises.
Yeah,
It was the luxurious Landises back then. And I walk through. And Sylvester Stallone and my parents both go like this as I walk through. Ah! It's like they were watching the video of The Ring. And I looked bizarre. I was wearing a bathrobe that was I looked like a weirdo. My hair was done. And Sylvester Stallone was like, "Hey, there's Max." And I was like, "Oh, hello, Sylvester." And I went over and I proceeded to be down there for 40 minutes telling stories, being like the adorable child of
charming
John and
everyone.
Deborah. Everyone loved them. And the whole time, I kept looking over at my parents who were just like waiting.
Yeah.
and then I was like, well, good night. I got a glass of milk and I went upstairs. And as I went upstairs, I heard Sylvester go, "Oh, really sweet kid." And I hear my dad go, "Yeah, I guess he is." That's my memory of that.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, well,
great
tell
story.
people where they can find you on the internet if they're looking, want to look for you.
If you want obnoxious opinions and a lot of critical analysis of story within pop culture, and also I put people onto a lot of independent stuff they might not know. And also, I never shut the fuck up, and it's a direct window into my brain. You can follow me at Up to My Knees on Twitter, at Up to My Knees 1985 on Instagram, which I almost never update, and Up to My Knees on YouTube. And please buy Green Valley, a comic book coming out monthly in stores now. It's a limited series. I think it's really good.
Absolutely.
There are 2 issues so far, and just watch Dirk Gently when it comes back, and catch Bright on Netflix whenever that is. This was really fun.
Thanks,
Great.
man. Thanks
Awesome.
for
for coming out.
making this happen. Matt, where can people find you, buddy?
You can find all my stuff at funnymatt.com, or if you're annoyed by me, please let me know at mattwalkersucks.com.
Absolutely. People do. What about you,
Yeah, they do.
Blaze?
I got a really cool article in High Times this month. A nice big picture of me that I'm very proud of. So you can read that
were
in
so
High Times
quiet.
magazine. Yeah, I like to listen and then snipe things in.
That explains what you're wearing now.
That's my MO. Yeah.
It's
really
so,
does-
what he's wearing, you'd never notice him. It's in camouflage.
Yeah, just a bright. My shirt looks like you're on shrooms. So,
It's like rave camouflage.
yeah,
like
I am rave camouflage.
Fractals of pastel colors.
Yeah.
But not mathematically sound fractals.
It's like a kaleidoscope on
very
a
true.
shirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's that's
That's
it.
there. It is. So if you like Molly, buy my shirt. And check out High Times. Check out TBS Digital in 2017. I'm on a pretty cool show on there called Nature Talks Back. And follow me at Glazer Boo Hoo Hoo on Twitter if you like weird one-liners.
Yeah, and
He's got great
they're
ones.
fucking hilarious.
Great ones.
Mike Glazer here is one of the writers on our live show that we do here at the Hollywood Improv. Don't forget to I'm at Stephen Glickman, STPHEN Glickman on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And then, of course, guys, subscribe to the show and check it out. Max, you're fucking incredible. Thanks for spending
Awesome.
time
Thank
with
you
us,
so
man.
much.
That was so fun. I'm going to go see the All American Rejects play.
Yeah!
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, and have a good night. Goodbye.